Hey everyone, welcome back. Laure here, and I was joined with Odoamne after their victory. Thank you very much for joining me today. That was such a clean game from you guys, and yesterday's game felt clean also, but you lost it in the end. What happened yesterday?
I wouldn't say yesterday was really a clean game. Even up until the point we lost, I feel like we made a lot of mistakes. We were kind of panicked in a way, just because I feel like this week's scrims were pretty bad for us. I feel like we stopped improving and forgot some of the basics and the plays we should have done. So I feel like the communications were pretty bad yesterday, and we all panicked a lot. So I feel like we didn't really play well yesterday, just because of how scrims went this week. But today we managed to kind of pick it up. Yesterday was kind of a wake-up call for everyone, just because I feel like we should have won that game, and we made some mistakes in draft as well. I think we shouldn't have picked the way we picked, and I think we managed to kind of pick the ball up for today, and hopefully if we have a tiebreaker next, we can play good there as well.
I want to talk to you a bit about Selfie, because people tend to say that he's the best jungler in Europe, and obviously with his performance on Zac, it must be true. What do you think about it? What makes him so good?
I think he's just really efficient in how he clears his jungle, and he tracks enemy jungle fairly well. We most of the time know where enemy jungle is going to be and what's he going to do. And I don't know, he just gives a lot of information and makes it really easy for everyone to know what he's doing and what's our strong side, weak side, and when we have windows of opportunity to make plays with him.
And one last question for you. In a recent interview, you said that you needed to feel fulfilled as a player. How do you feel now?
Not so much. I feel like this season, this split hasn't been the best for me. I had some games lately where I've been doing well, but the beginning of the split was fairly terrible, to say the least. But so far we're doing okay. The answer to the question would have been yes, this was a fulfilling split if we would have won yesterday, and we would have gotten second place today, but yeah. Not so much.
But anyways, you're getting closer and closer to get second place. It's not up to you guys anymore.
Yeah,
we'll see about that for the end of the day. Thank you very much for joining me now.
Thank you.
And now we send it back to Sjokz and the guys at the desk.
If that is an Odoamne negative, even though we won, negative, even though they are, well, they bounced back very graciously after the game yesterday. Lost versus Vitality.
They all learned from Soaz.
They all learned from Soaz. But, well, it means that he's still competitive. He still wants to improve going into playoffs, and he still wants to get that second place spot. And with the way their jungler is playing, Xerxes, and also winning the player of the game in this one with 64% of the votes, it is looking good for Splyce. Yesterday seemed to really just have been a blip on the radar.
It seems like it. We heard a little bit from Odoamne where the communication wasn't on point. They forgot a couple of the basics and they panicked. And unfortunately, it was a bad time to have that kind of happen. Yeah. They are still in contention for that second place spot, but the one thing we can say has been a consistency is Xerxes in the jungle.
6 wins, 1 loss in the last 7 games.
And it could be an expensive one if they manage to...
That one loss could cost them second place.
Shut out of that second place, but we'll have to follow that up. But coming up next, we have another match. We have H2k facing off against Roccat. The stakes couldn't be higher for both teams. So let me run it down with you. If H2k win, they are in playoffs. If Roccat win, they are in playoffs. If H2k win, they are in playoffs, and they shut the Unicorns of Love and Misfits out of playoffs. If Roccat lose, there are still chances for them to get there, but it gets more difficult. TLDR, they gotta win. So let's start by talking about H2k and their late season surge and talk about if they have the possibility or the ability to lock it down here. Do you think they can beat Roccat in this game?
100%.
See, I'm not entirely convinced. Deficio is, I think that they still have a couple of issues, but the one thing that I will highlight is this team is 6-3 with the introduction of Sjokz and Selfie to the roster. And regardless of what you say about this roster, that is an impressive run.
Yeah, and I mean, let's look at how they're playing at the moment. The bot lane yesterday, Promisq and Sheriff, Xayah Rakan. That was smooth. You know, we know Sheriff is a great AD carry, and Promisq has had some really good games on engaged supports, and that's what we got to see here, where he set up so many picks in the early game. So we got to see an H2k lineup actually win the early game for once. I think they can do the same against Roccat, and that's how you can shut them down completely.
That's the thing I'm still concerned about. I think their early game still has a lot of holes in it. I feel like Sjokz's impact isn't as impactful as, say, his opposition jungler could very well be today. But I can say for certain that Sheriff down in the bottom lane is one of the upstart and strong performance, considering he's a rookie.
Is he the guy that will carry H2k to the playoffs if they make it?
If I had to pick one person, yes, it would be Sheriff, but I do think there are more players on this lineup who's actually played really well. Smittyj in team fights and these different tanks have a lot of impact. I think Selfie has been just very consistent. He's not like big plays or anything, but he's actually just always doing his job and almost never falling behind. So to me, this H2k lineup has now become more about the entire team than just an individual player, because we highlighted Sjokz earlier in the split, and then we talk about Sheriff. I feel like the entire lineup is actually working well together.
Well, every single player is going to have to show up today if they want to make it to playoffs and if they want to beat Roccat, because Roccat haven't made playoffs since summer 2015, and this time it is all in their own hands. They control their very own destiny. So, same question for this lineup. Who's the X Factor? Who can carry Roccat to playoffs?
Well, for me, it has to be Memento. He is one of the key factors that will determine the outcome of this game and how much of an early game impact that he has. Because I believe that Roccat are just good at utilizing a lead. Once they've got it, they know exactly how to play towards their win conditions. They do not give very many opportunities for their opposition to bounce back. And I think that it all stems from their new leader, Memento, and the growth that he's been able to demonstrate throughout this split.
I'm looking at Blanc. When Blanc gets ahead in the early game, he does really well, and Roccat tends to do very well. When Blanc falls behind in the early game, he's a complete non-factor, and the team lacks a ton of damage for actual team fights.
So I do feel like we've said the same thing about their bottom lane as well. If they fall behind, they're in trouble. So it seems like there's some holes, like in comparison to what you said about H2k, that there are strengths all over the map. It seems like they need more specific strategy to play to their maybe weaknesses.
I think they just rely a lot on, and it's very highlighted on Memento specifically, because we look at their laners and we don't say, Blanc will win 1v1 or HeaQ will just destroy the enemy AD carry. So they got to build it together with, you know, your top lane TPs, jungle ganking, these kind of things. But that's where, again, they have actually succeeded with it. And I have one other name I want to throw in here for when it comes to who can actually carry Roccat towards playoffs, and it's Freddy, the coach. I think he has managed to take this lineup and actually show us some growth with them. He's very early on put a ton of focus on like vision control and how to play around Baron, which got them a lot of wins early. So we are voting for coach of the split as well. I'm just going to say it already. I think Freddy is actually one of the guys you should put on that list.
Well, very good. And I know your predictions from Little Esports. You think H2k is going to win, and you think Roccat is going to win. And I also put my faith in Roccat. We will see. Well, Roccat would secure a playoff spot with a win. And the big question is, if they do, will we see some Norskeren dabs?
Oh, yes, I certainly hope to see the dab. Welcome back to the caster desk. You're not going to dab with me?
No, old man.
Not cool, not cool. Before we get to picks and bans and you set the scene, amazing. What is at stake here is quite simple. Win and you are in. Whichever team wins this game is locked into playoffs. So both of these teams control their own destiny. Who will that hurt or help? Because that weight, that pressure, surely it plays on your mind.
I'm actually quite curious because I do think that Roccat will be faced by the pressure a bit more because I do think that the members are less experienced in total. Because H2k, they do have Sjokz, who has been a new LCS champion. He has shown that ability. Selfie has been in top rosters, and overall, H2k seems to care less in games. As in, what I mean by that is that they're not faced by the pressure, they just play, and we heard Smittyj or Promisq even saying that he's really excited for this week. Not to just play, but actually to face the pressure.
Yeah, and of course we saw yesterday H2k played so well against Sjokz. It was a fairly clean win. It was confident. The guys stepped up when it matters. After the game, HeaQ actually had a tweet, "My first ever legitimate chance at playoffs."
Isn't that sad?
It is a little bit, but it's also insane when you look at the split and you look at the teams around and the fact that we have so many teams so close together at 7 and 10, 8 and 9 wins. And of course, down to 4 games left and still every single game counts.
You know what's incredible about the Roccat roster is just the fact that they have technically been bottom feeders, like a lot of them, and some of them obviously on the uprise, Memento qualifying, Norskeren qualifying with Schalke technically. So they have been at the bottom and are finally rising up. And that must be so good for them. We obviously heard HeaQ talk about it, and they must be so happy about it, actually having that shot. So I wonder if they're prepared properly for it.
Well, we'll find out. Of course, we've talked a lot about Sheriff being one of the standout players for H2k, one of the impressive rookies this split. HeaQ, obviously, we just talked about his tweets, and the reason I focus on them, Xayah, Ezreal, Caitlyn all banned away, as well as some mid laners in Azir and Galio. So no junglers, no top laners, and heavy focus on that bottom lane.
Yeah, there should be another AD carry right there. I can't quite remind myself, but we've heard Reckless talk about the AD carry pool, that it's really limited. It's basically around 4 champions, basically. And Caitlyn being the... So, Tristana, actually, that was the champion I was looking for. All the AD carries that are the priority champions are out. Not sure if either AD carry has played more than that in terms of, like, practice recently.
Oh, that's impressive. Important to note, because if we look down, HeaQ's most played, 7 games on Caitlyn, 4 games on Ezreal, 2 games on Trist, 2 games on Xayah.
Kallista's nerfed.
They're all banned. Kallista's gone. And that's why I guess Kog'Maw becomes first pick, right? Everything else rises in value, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm wondering what HK is going to answer. I think the Kog'Maw pick as the first pick is actually really smart. We see the Swain as a response, being the flex pick that I talked about in game 1, where basically Swain always has an ability to dominate top and dominate mid lane if you put him in the right matchups.
Ooh, very interesting. So Selfie and Smittyj going to have some options available to them. We actually talked a few weeks ago, I think you and I may have talked about this, amazing how Sjokz and Selfie, some of the fresher faces to the stage, might be more comfortable to adapt to the patch. I think that was for 8.4.
Yeah.
But obviously now they're a bit more entrenched in the scrims, a bit more entrenched in the training, meant to be, unless you take what they said yesterday to heart. So how much does this change your playstyle when you pick a champion like Swain that has not been in the competitive scene very long?
I mean, it just makes you slightly less comfortable on stage, definitely. It may actually make you cautious because you're not quite sure how far you can push the limits of that champion on stage, because people react differently between scrims and stage, where they play less aggressive, where you can't abuse a lot of mistakes. And that's basically what you have to look out for. I think they're going to have a cautious approach, but maybe they're actually going to be more confident than I expect them to be.
Okay, let's find out. Yesterday was confident play from H2k. It's what allowed them to keep their hopes alive. And
I love this comp. If they actually pull this three man comp off right now, like a Kog'Maw, Braum, Skarner, like the synergy between them is just, you can first of all protect the Kog'Maw really, really easy. No one is able to dash in because either Braum will Q him, or the Skarner will pull him away, or even make the target basically vulnerable. I really, really, really like that comp, especially Braum for Norskeren again.
All right, so good combination from Roccat. Execution will then be the determining factor in-game. And H2k are cycling through the remaining picks. Of course, we've seen
Sejuani.
Jinx this split. We've seen Sheriff's Vayne. He used that to beat Fnatic, what feels like an eternity ago. And we'll see what eventually gets locked in. But for Sjokz, it's Sejuani. It's what he used to dismantle Schalke yesterday, if I double check the stats. Correction, it was Kha'Zix yesterday. It was Memento that played Sejuani, getting myself confused.
No, getting the Sejuani in there is quite good, because obviously you could ban it out in the second ban phase. I do think it's still a priority jungler. Maybe I would like to see the Olaf, but I can understand the respect that H2k has for that Kog'Maw pick, because if you pick Olaf into it, you're going to be melted every team fight.
All right, so what will get picked then in terms of these next phases? And
Will
what
we
get
see
banned?
more AD carry events? That's the question.
Is it worthwhile now that we're like this far down the tier list?
You can make. I actually wonder if it would be, because you could technically make Varus ban skin. I think that's definitely still up there in the tier list. Not as strong anymore, but still up there.
I'm gonna put my economics hat on and say a line that sometimes there's diminishing returns when you keep investing in the same portfolio. And that's what the question I have is, if Sherritt's gonna get some sort of late scaling champion like a Jinx or a Vayne, do you maybe ban the Vayne because you've seen that and you know Sheriff?
No, no, don't ban the Vayne. Like if you lose to a Vayne, you really deserve that lose anyway, you know. So it's whatever. I think that taking out, well, Gangplank ban, not that standard anymore. I would have taken that out actually.
Draven, really?
Sheriff is a really, really good Draven player, at least in solo queue, because every time I play against him, it doesn't look that good for my team. But there's still a lot of options like Sivir, Jinx.
Okay, well, let's turn our attention while they figure out what ADC they're going to play to this mid lane, top lane. Swain, at this point, obviously the solo laners will come in for Roccat. That'll be the determining factor. Jinx finally is the answer, but what will H2k be hoping for or be looking for to unlock this Swain, whether it's Smittyj or Selfie?
I'm really not certain, because I think this whole comp is kind of like synergetic. I think you just have to hope, because they already took out Ryze and Caspia. I think they have a clear-cut plan in their minds, and we see the Sion pick right now to actually put it mid lane, to minimize the mid lane pool, but they have to put it top lane. They have to put the Swain top lane now.
Okay, so what is it specifically that makes you say that once the Anivia and the Sion are now locked in?
You can't lane against Anivia. Anivia cues you, like as soon as the R is down, you can't even move. You can't even attack her.
Well, looks to be the case for H2k, because if Kassadin gets locked in, you assume Smittyj is going to be taking that Swain top. And
Full
yes,
late game, baby.
Okay, so now we've got some very unique champions locked in. Sion, Anivia, Swain, Kassadin. What do both team compositions want to go? You've already said full late game.
Full late game for H2k, for sure. They have no win conditions whatsoever in the early game, unless they somehow can make a play around the Swain, which is highly unlikely against a really tanky Sion. As for Roccat, they do have a bit of a mid-game spike, because surprisingly Kog'Maw is a really good mid-game champion. The same applies for the Skarner and the Sion, where you have so much engage and you have a lot of damage. The only issue I see for that Roccat lineup is actually the fact that they're gonna run into a situation where late game they have a lot of magic damage. So stacking MR is gonna be good for H2k.
All right, valuable if the itemization will play into their favor. Got to get to that late game. Got to survive through whenever mid-game the Skarner, Kog'Maw, and Anivia want to set up. And of course, something that is completely useless, but I like. If Promisq had his old name, which actually you called him earlier, Spratel, the whole team would start with the letter S. Just unique piece of information. Well, look, reminder of the stakes. Win and you are in. It is that simple. If you're a fan of Roccat or H2k, this is where you guarantee yourself a spot in the postseason. And of course, if H2k are that team, then the Unicorns of Love and Misfits are eliminated from contention. So if you're a fan of those guys, you're hoping for Roccat to pick up this victory. We're loading up onto the Rift. And amazing, I'm a little nervous for team fights, because with Anivia, Sion, Sejuani, Swain, there's so much area of effect and zoning that things are going to get very, very messy and chaotic.
Yeah, there's going to be so much engages happening. What I'm most concerned though later on in the game is just the fact that Rocket's comp kind of is this line shot comp where if you stay as a death ball and you basically like line up behind the Braum, you're going to be fine and behind the Sion. But as soon as that formation is almost broken up, which Swain and Kassadin can easily do because they can jump the backline, I think it's going to be a bit harder to control the game. He got lucky.
Smittyj just gets out of range of that Flash Frost. And of course, you talked about how Swain and Kassadin can disrupt, you know, from the side lanes and use Swain's range, for example. If Sheriff gets a kill or is involved in an assist, that get excited will allow him to reposition very effectively as well. So there's some tools there that they can make use of. And Flame Chompers could be very frustrating to deal with.
Yeah, we've seen that Memento guy kind of jumping into those once in a while and lost the last game, I think, that they played against Giants once.
Yes.
He basically inted into it. So
that was the Camille jungle, if I remember correctly.
I mean, you int in champ select, then you int in game. It makes sense. But yeah, I'm just really interested in these comps. I think Roccat comp, like it, in my head, it looks really beautiful, to be fair.
But it comes down to execution, right?
Definitely.
There's theory and there's power on paper.
Yeah.
But you need to actually bring that into the game and bring that up. Okay, I'm looking down keystones as I always do. I love to check in on different options. Looks like Arcane Comet for Swain, Glacial Augment for Sion, Unsealed Spellbooks for Blanc, Norskeren, and Promisq. Not seeing anything too surprising here. And of course, what I want to take a look at is who's going to get some sort of early advantage. And Sjokz or Memento, which lanes are they going to be looking to unlock? Because you've already talked about how difficult it can be ganking Prophet's lane when you're a Swain, but he's taking a ton of damage.
Queued the wrong way. Interesting. I think that Memento has to focus the top side of the map. It is really important to shut down that Kassadin and Swain early on, because the stronger your Anivia and Sion are going to be, and even with XP, especially with XP advantage, it's so easy to control these picks. If you can get a gank on mid lane, Kassadin is behind, you can control the mid lane, roam off of it, and basically just control the pace of the game.
All right, control the pace of the game, unlock the state for your teammates. And of course, that all leads from
Early
your
gank.
decision making. There's this top lane that you talked about. This is what you said you wanted to see from Memento. Flash is available for Smittyj. Let's see the CC. Very early flash. A lot of respect from Smittyj. Going to use that passive to pull Memento back and puts a lot of damage in reply. Picking up those shards as he goes. But no summoner spell means he's got to play a little more cautiously in that top lane.
Yeah. It's going to be really tough for Smittyj to actually survive this laning phase. I expect Memento to actually come back to the top side of the map, pay him a visit again, and actually gank him again. It should be really, really easy to execute. But yeah, obviously a lot of trade damage coming in. Memento will have to go back to his own jungle, smite the camp away, recall, and probably get some wards down.
I want to take a little bit of a deeper dive on Memento after he's pulled off a successful gank and going to be pressuring top. Look at the difference in stats between wins and losses. I know kills and assists at 15 and kill participation is something you were looking at earlier today. Amazing.
Yeah, I'm really... It just kind of signals how important Memento is for this lineup. Whenever he actually makes plays or he's set up to make plays, they are winning. Whenever he's not, that's how it looks like. They lose. They has no activity whatsoever in the early game. The Roccat lineup looks uninspired to a certain extent. And I think that's really, really important. Get Memento in a position where he can make plays early, make him active, and he have the inspiration drawn from there.
Well, already started in that way. Got that first gank off, got that summoner spell, especially for Prophet, who had already fired a skill shot the wrong direction. I'm going to do a shoutcaster thing and read too much into it. But we talked about, you know, youthful...
He's basically tilted.
Youthful approach, inexperienced nerves, you know, whatever it is, right? You see that little moment at 2 minutes and you go, ooh... Just makes you a little nervous.
Yeah.
And sets those extra like, what if it is tilt? What if it is nerves and pressure getting to it?
I mean, I hope that none of the other teammates saw that because they were pulling after them. But yeah, I wouldn't read too much into it. But I do think that like they have never been in this position. None of the playoffs. They have never been able to reach the playoffs. So for them to actually be in this spot and to actually have to respond to just like the emotions that are coming in with it, it's going to be tough, and I'm wondering how they're going to handle it, especially come late game.
Well, we got to get there, and 5 minutes in. Small CS leads for Prophet in the top lane and Selfie in the mid lane, so opposite sides of the rift. HeaQ will be able to pick up a lot of that farm under his own tower. And we've not really looked at Selfie versus Blanc. That's because the matchup is not very exciting until level 6. Even then, it's not that explosive.
It just... I mean, Kassadin's gonna probably not be able to jump Blanc unless he has vision. He's gonna Q him, farm.
Yep, farm.
It works.
Look for the side lane impact for Selfie. That will be the expectation, and of course, Blanc, he's looking to control team fights in the late game.
Yeah, definitely.
They're gonna excel in different things, really. But we got to get there first. And for now, it's an even game as far as the gold is concerned. No lane with any sort of early advantage. Just a lot of minion dematerializers on the side of Roccat. I think there was, in fact, 3 of them. Prophet, Blanc, and Norskeren. Blanc is just used this to survive through this early wave clear deficit that Anivia has.
Yeah, this would actually be the perfect time for Memento to set up a topside play because he should know that Smittyj just TP'd back. If they set up right now and they actually get the play down, he's going to be set behind a lot. But I don't think they're going for it, or maybe Memento's actually trying to hit level 6 to make the play safe, which is something that is not too uncommon on Skarner.
Yeah, play that... Make the decision based on the map, right? How it's favoring you. I mean, Smittyj is still pushing top. He's going fairly forward, actually. And that zombie ward just killed now by Sjokz. As I'm looking down the vision. Control wards in the bottom lane, protecting HeaQ and Norskeren. And then one just in the top protecting Smittyj. So it's not very deep vision. It's not like proactive vision. This is just protecting the strong lanes that are going to be pushing.
Could be that Roccat is just actually shifting their focus, as you just said. Like, the lanes that are pushing are supposed to be protected. So abandoning the top side of the map, like abandoning the tank, is not necessarily the bad decision for Memento. We see Sjokz setting up for mid lane though.
All right, Glacial Prison comes down. Blanc is stunned in place. Could potentially get caught into an egg. There's a rift hook over the wall.
TP behind,
comes out and Memento's coming the fight. Now Selfie takes a tower shot. Here comes Sion, the unstoppable onslaught.
Sjokz gonna die here.
Catches onto Sjokz. Sjokz in trouble, gets knocked up into the air. Memento continues to chase with the impale. First blood picked up by Roccat.
That went really, really badly for H2k. They thought they had an easy kill in the mid lane, but the TP behind, they didn't respect it. Smittyj didn't have it, and it's perfect response from Roccat.
Man, the egg of Blanc bought all the time that he needed.
You gotta kill Anivia twice, man. Just how it works.
And all of that worry of tilt and fear, I throw it out the window because, of course, Prophet picks up the kill, and this is just a good response.
Man, it's so important that Selfie actually got CC'd initially by Blanc because he couldn't follow up instantly to the Sjokz CC. So a lot of damage was lost. Now the chase down happens. Predator boots don't allow you to actually escape. Sjokz can't flash anywhere. He's just getting CC'd, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Oh, great combination. Everybody gets the assist, and it was Memento that responded, was available for the counter gank in the right area at the right time, and zero hesitation on Prophet's teleport.
Hey, you just pressed it. It's that simple, top laner from solo queue. Whenever you have the opportunity to actually counter gank something, just do it. You're gonna get the numbers advantage, you're gonna get a kill out of it, and it's gonna look good on your stat sheet.
One of the advantages of saying things like that, Amazing, is I get to say the following. Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, take a photo of Amazing's face, give it that gray scale, and go, it's that simple. Press teleports. And it's advice, solo queue tips with Maurice Amazing Stuckenschneider.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I follow my own.
We've got a rating of 10 out of 10 from the Portuguese crowd.
Oh.
So there we go. Okay, give it a 9. One of them's given you a 9. It's not the highest rating.
An 8? What are you doing? No.
It's
10.
so much fun playing with the audience. If you guys ever get a chance to come watch a live event, you absolutely should.
Oh, he turned the 8. He turned the 8.
There we go. There we go. Amazing. Your score goes up. And so does Roccat. They've got a small gold lead. They've got a CS advantage in mid. And going to catch up from the bottom. I mean, HeaQ's falling behind. 2 waves? That's quite a lot at this stage.
It's not too bad, though, because like Kog'Maw still skates really well into mid-game, which is something that Sheriff and Jinx can definitely not do because you need a couple of items on that Jinx. Whereas Kog'Maw, if he gets a Rage Blade or maybe the Blade of the Rune King, you're going to be fine come mid-game.
So much threat onto that Kog'Maw once the teamfights break out. And of course, we take a quick glimpse there of Memento picking up a 9-minute 50 Ocean Drake. Very, very valuable during the laning phase, especially because it feels like we're going to be in for a longer one.
Yeah, I do think that the Roccat is going to start playing on the bot side like intensively now. I think that Anivia will get a lot of mid priority with Memento just lurking around. Then again, the D board's in right now. We see a pink board set up, and they have that access. They have to wait for Prophet's TP to come back up because Smittyj will have it earlier, but I think that should be the game plan for them right now.
Okay, so all the vision is signaling that. H2k potentially sniffing it out. I mean, you can see Selfie, he's already starting to roam, challenging these control wards. So how would we know if H2k have read it, if they've understood and interpreted and are preparing either a counterplay or looking to protect their bottom lane?
I think once we see Sejuani and Kassadin actually roaming in together, like it's hard to get mid-party, but make a play onto the mid lane and walk towards the bot side. But a beautiful trade by Blanc here, right?
So good. He hit everything. Got the stun, got a couple ticks of his ultimate, even the double damage on that frostbite. Really nicely played. But that's kind of what you expect or what you want to see from Anivia players, using the forced pathing and the ridiculous like zone control that her kit brings to the Rift.
And that's basically what's going to happen come mid-game too. Anivia's going to have so much zoning potential. It's going to be really tough for HeaQ unless they get flanks to actually just like alter that pick and make him uncomfortable.
All right, let's see how much comfort Roccat will bring. 12 minutes in, Memento once again.
Farming objectives right now.
Dude, he's flying away. So Memento's currently 500 gold up over Sjokz. He's farming up a Storm. And the moment there's any threat onto Blanc, look at how quickly Memento is here to respond. He's bailed on the Rift Herald. Instantly came middle to Blanc as Sjokz was sniffing his way in for a gank.
Yeah, Roccat has to respect the top lane power that Smittyj brings right now, though, so that's why they're backed off. And he backed off of the... Actually, they put a ping bot into the Herald pit too, so they knew that was going on. They knew that was going to play.
Oh! Blanc manages to get the stun, follows up with the E. Trading with a couple of those useless auto attacks. I hate Anivia auto attack animation.
Slap. It's just nothing. It doesn't do anything. But yeah, like, as long as he can keep the Kassadin low, he has no threat whatsoever. He can jump in. He's going to be in one shot. So it's really important to keep on that control coming in.
And of course for Roccat now, going to rely on that skill, going to rely on that CC.
I'm a bit disappointed by how slow this game is. I did expect Roccat to just come out a bit more explosive because this is around the time when they should be more active on the map. You have the Skarner ultimate, you have the Thrash backup, you have the TP backup for Prophet too. So why don't you set up for the bot side of the map? And I think they may start doing it now.
Do you think either team has a edge, however small, when it comes to the scaling game?
I think it's Rocket's comp is easier to execute, but in its max potential, H2k's comp should be better because Swain, Kassadin, get the flanks in, you know, make the picks uncomfortable, especially if you can't go anywhere. They don't have necessarily enough protection because Sion is not the best peel champion, Skarner is not the best peel champion. So for them, it should be really easy, or it should be possible actually to just make Kog'Maw and Anivia
do less damage, be less effective. And of course, if that happens, then H2k win. So, all right, let's see. We're still plenty of game left.
No, don't suck. No.
Have you got PTSD?
Yeah, I do.
Back in the days of 30 minutes of laning, one team fight around Baron, and then the game is over, right?
It's too bad. It's too bad.
We've seen that meta a few times. Actually, we saw that meta about a month and a half ago, the early stages of 8.1. And as it stands, Devour from Promisq is going to save Sheriff's life for now. Sheriff, by the way, BF Sword and Zeal, while HeaQ is sitting on 800 gold, so building up enough to complete that Guinsoo's Rage Blade. And that's really when Roccat, I think, would want to be active. Get that one item across the board, Banner of Command, Rod of Ages, as well as Rage Blade, and then Roccat can look to fight.
He just has Mercs, and he takes no damage whatsoever from the Anivia right now. It will take a long time for the Anivia pick to actually come online, but we see the first banner actually coming in.
All right, Banner of Command already used. It's a gigantic melee minion.
It's going to take a long while.
Smittyj is going to take such a long time to kill this thing. But obviously the tower will help out.
Yeah, glad he has the tower buddy coming in right now because that would take forever. But they finally do what they're supposed to do. Roccat is really pressuring the mid pick. They force a lot of mana out of Selfie, so his wave clear is going to be altered, and the ability to actually follow up on roams is going to be altered too. So you will see a lot more invades coming in right now. Memento should actually set up for the bottom gank.
Okay, 1 minute until Mountain Drake spawns. So Vision being pushed deep into the jungle. Teleports available for everybody that has them.
It's really important.
Smittyj as well as Selfie have TPs to respond. Prophet and Blanc got theirs, and Selfie low on mana, playing on the edge of safety. Moved forward, used that Riftwalk to back away, and it's a battle for blue buff.
I'm not quite sure if this is the right play for Roccat, because if they get flanked right here, I think they can actually lose out.
Wow, there's the teleports already coming down. The Glacial Prison is going to lock down Memento. Doesn't even get a chance to use the Impale. Does do so. Pulls him backwards. Nobody's down just yet. Smittyj trying to chase forward in that demonic form. Gets the first kill of the fight. That Sheriff getting excited, looking to run down the rest of Roccat as Blanc is getting tagged with that minigun. Pow pow on the back end, and H2k first kill of the game.
That's what I talked about earlier when I said Roccat just has a line shot comp, and H2k can obviously flank and get the flanks in, and it was so easy. Get the TP in, have the Kassadin jump in, be pulled in. He couldn't even be one shot because there was no damage left. So easy play for H2k. I don't think this was the opportunity for Roccat.
And of course, not even a Rage Blade completed, a pickaxe and a
really
recurve
weak
bow.
at this point.
That Kog'Maw's not going to offer a lot.
I think this invade in itself is fine to actually contest it, just force the rotations come in and maybe even force TP. But Kassadin is never as long as he has his W up. If he can jump in, actually get hit off, he's going to be fine. Norskeren is going to be chased down, and there's nothing he can do about it. It's just, that's the difference between comps. And we see it right here.
Yeah, really clearly demonstrated. H2k, they survive. They keep themselves even as we now reset for the next Baron fight. It feels like Roccat are willing to fight around Dragon.
Yeah.
They were able to set up the play earlier. They obviously contested the Vision. And this time around, by the way, Hurricane picked up for Sheriff, Rage Blade picked up for HeaQ.
Now, like, the chance is a lot more for Roccat.
Okay.
I think them being a 4-man unit is actually way better for them than being a 5-man unit at this point, because if Smittyj gets the flanks, he's going to do a lot of damage. But if he's out and they actually can control which members are coming in, they can actually just dictate where the damage comes from and can dictate where the Braum shields.
Okay, Braum shield then pivotal in teamfights. I'll keep my eye on it and try to cast that. But of course, in terms of trying to keep your focus, these flanking team comps are so difficult. Let's see what Roccat will decide to unlock. I'm just looking at the pressure, by the way. That top tower fell. Didn't specifically call it out. I think it was the Banner of Command empowered minion. So that was tower first blood to Roccat.
It feels really bad. There's nothing that Smittyj can do unless they have someone else roaming top lane to actually hit the banner minion with him, because it's just going to take the turret in his face.
Yep. A little bit of damage from that Frostbite into Selfie, whose Rod of Ages is stacking up. Tier is stacking as well. And we're getting close to 20 minutes. And this is where teams start to, again, feel even more pressure. Baron's going to start becoming a threat and possibility, especially both teams. And really how quickly I think they'll be able to take it down. Oh, look at that. The Observer's even giving us the action. Oh, that's why. Because you said Smittyj can't do a thing. Even with the tower's help, he can't kill it.
That's just sad. But yeah, it's just, I do want to see Roccat be more active right now. They're going to lose their window of opportunity soon because H2k's lineup is going to come online really, really fast. And if they don't seize the opportunity right now and actually make the play on bottom, I think it's really hard for them to control the pace of the game.
And of course, again, just a reminder, if you have just joined us, win and you're in. That is what it boils down to here. For Roccat and H2k, there's still 2 spots left to be 100% confirmed. And Selfie playing on the edge of safety once again. Taking a look at that, there's your standings. Look at that. Roccat 8 and 9, H2k 7 and 10. If H2k win this, we'll be tied. 8 wins, 10 losses with Roccat. Now this will be an easily secured dragon for Roccat. There's no contest from H2k. But where there will be contest, let's look at the head-to-heads for H2k, the teams that are going to be around them. One of the reasons that Deficio has felt confident in predicting H2k to advance, amazing, is when teams are tied in the standings, we look at their head-to-head records and can we discern, can we figure out whether or not one team is placed above the other. And you can see 1-0 over Roccat, 1-1 Schalke, 1-1 Misfits, meaning at a minimum, we might be able to force that tiebreaker game.
Yeah, definitely. H2k should, like, it has really good shot, a really good shot at making it into playoffs. Even, I think, yeah, if they win this game, so it's just interesting to see how this lineup actually got to this point, because when we saw it in the beginning of the split, they had nothing going for them. There was nothing exciting about them, and they obviously brought in like Sjokz and Selfie together, and they actually looked like a formidable team. And I still do think that Roccat should pull this out, but the amount of plays that Roccat is not doing is actually hurting them right now.
And of course, there's one unique scenario as well. We keep saying win and you're in.
Yeah.
But even if you lose, because of these head-to-head records, there are scenarios where H2k and Roccat will both be able to advance even if they lose this game because of the fact they've picked up more wins around the teams around them throughout the course of the split. And of course, Medic will be giving you those specifics later in his playoff checkup. But for now, Rift Herald was picked up by Sjokz while I was ambling and waffling on about standings. Baron has since spawned, and there's only 1 tower down and 1 kill apiece. We have to be ready, getting ready for big team fights. That's what it looks like in the minimap.
Yeah, they're actually setting up the Sion in the backline. You don't really see anything. He can always ultimate in. He's actually doing that right now.
All right, Unstoppable Onslaught coming in. This is a zoning ultimate. Sjokz decides to engage. He throws down. Here's one. No flanking moves yet. No teleports yet. HeaQ eats the zap. There's no real threat because just the ultimates alone allow Roccat to take their second tower. It may be at the cost of the top lane though.
I think it's going to be fine. I really like the setup though. I did, like, that's basically what you want to have if you're Roccat. You want to have this line shot. You want to have just like the ability to control the flanks, but we actually may see a dive.
All right, we are indeed, because there's support coming up for both teams. Smittyj and Demonic Ascension. He's trading with Blanc, but there's a fight on 2 fronts as Memento forced to flash over the wall in his side of the territory. The support not going to be enough just yet. Blanc gets popped in his passive. Here comes Norskeren. Glacial Fissure comes down. The Impale pulls back Promisq. He's dunked down under the tower. Memento is now looking to chase forward. Needs to get those crystal slashes down. There's the slow from Laure of the Slayer on Prophet, and again, these fights are messy, but the forward barrel straight line of Roccat is extremely powerful.
Yeah, so much happening here. We need to see the replay, but like Promisq and Sheriff together, just ulted on top side of the map, isolated the Anivia, forced them into a reaction, and Roccat responded properly, but they still lost their bird.
Oh, it's so tough to focus on the different areas. I mean, H2k set up that dive, Roccat re-engaged, and these guys are being put under immense pressure. It ends up being a 1-for-1, and we'll see that in a moment or two, but I could just see a Righteous Glory picked up to complement the Predator, and this is how it all started, amazing.
Yeah, Memento actually smelled it to a second extent. He was kind of aware that this was going to happen, so he actually answered that properly. He didn't overextend. We should actually focus on Memento a bit, and now we see him actually flashing over the wall, keeping himself safe. Now Blanc actually makes a mistake of overextending, I think, because if he doesn't flash in, actually flashes back into his team, he should be safe because everyone else can help out. Luckily for them, they get Promisq down because he overextends himself and is an easy target for them. But overall, good play. And they actually got to Nash.
Whoa, how did that happen? You might get a pip of that, but okay, so Blanc flashing forward, misses that flash. Frost doesn't get the stun. He gets punished for it.
But the Nash.
There we go. Baron Nashor picked up. The Roccat fans, and probably Roccat Reddit guy if he's in the audience, cheering and clapping.
And I should be happy too, because I did predict Roccat to win. But this is just a surprise, surprise pickup, because there's no indication for them to actually be able to do that. But the Kog'Maw has so much damage at this point on Nashor that it's always a possibility, and I didn't even think of it.
Well, we didn't think it was going to happen. We weren't ready for it.
And the replay was going on, so I have an excuse.
It instantly popped, and that means Roccat have got a 2,000 gold lead. Amazing. You said it's important for you because of the prediction game. Are you catching Deficio or not?
I'll be equal with him.
You'll be equal with him. Okay, did he predict an H2k win?
Yes.
Okay, well, there we go. Who is the hashtag superior analyst?
I mean, it's no question, you know, he got lucky. I'm just doing with the smarts, you know.
There we go. The research, the prep. But listen, Baron picked up, Wits End picked up as well. How much more powerful are Roccat than H2k right now?
I mean, they do have a banner minion, which is important, but the thing is that this forces the comp of Roccat to basically play in the way that they're supposed to play. They're supposed to be the line control comp. They're supposed to set up half the ROM, shield them, and they're going to do that now.
People who have watched Roccat in recent weeks, when the Baron banner of command minions were in play, it was Roccat that set the tone. Demonic Ascension will save Smittyj for a little while until Blanc kills Promisq. Now Smittyj's the target. He gets crushed by the unstoppable onslaught. Roccat are melting H2k. The banner of command minion is helping out and firing down onto H2k. Crystallize will block off any sort of re-engage, and Roccat continue the siege. Look at that cannon minion. The banner is not there yet. It is still on cooldown, but it's chipping away, and H2k cannot stop this minion.
Yeah, it was a beautiful setup for Roccat, because not just did they catch someone off guard, they got Smittyj out of the hands of Tahm, but it's also the Crystallize coming in, actually shutting off the Tahm. There was no response whatsoever that was possible for them.
Man, what a great play, and it all starts from that Baron. It unlocks this pressure, and instantly Roccat have, what, 5,000 gold in the lead? They've opened up the map, they've got some deep vision.
Well, that's when H2k hit that power spike, when they're 10k down. That's basically like how it's been this whole split. So I don't think they're too unfamiliar with the situation, but the amount of plays, like actually the Roccat lineup actually doing the plays that they're supposed to earlier is finally coming in. So I'm happy to see that, and they're actually doing what they're supposed to do.
Remember, win and you are in. That's what's happening here for Roccat. Let's take a look as now Selfie gets tagged by the Winter's Bite. Gonna get caught out by the Chilling Smite. Not gonna be died just yet. Impale pulls back Promisq. He's caught behind the wall, and Memento will get the final hit. Now the tower's the focus. Teleport coming in for Smittyj. I think he does finish it. Immediately forced backwards. Glacial Fissure will slow his escape out, and Selfie's forced to use that Riftwalk to safety. Baron is still there and will be timing out relatively soon. And as it stands, Roccat, they're continuing the siege. Look, the Bannon minion is now breaking open the base. 2 weeks ago, Roccat debuted this strategy against Giants, and 2 weeks ago, Roccat made one hell of a statement at closing games out. It looks like they're going to do it again. The inhibitor is now the focus as H2k look for the re-engage. Their ultimates
Tahm ult though, potentially.
On cooldown, can they chase?
Selfie is recalling right now. They may actually look for TP play, but I'm not quite sure. There's no response whatsoever right now possible for HK if they don't get those TP plays behind. You don't want to face up Roccat in a Death War comp.
Well, they managed to defend their inhibitor. That could be the saving grace for H2k.
Potentially, especially now with Drake still being there, they can maybe grab something back, but Roccat can steamroll if they keep on playing this way.
Well, they are steamrolling already. They've shown that they've got the focus, and it's just beautiful to see a team composition utilize the way it's designed.
Yeah.
When you see Sion and Skarner running in head first, and then Norskeren just waiting to see who he's going to dab to protect.
And he's not a bad driver either. We see Prophet right here, like, channeling the ultimate. Actually, he kind of predicted the Kassadin, and even if Tahm eats him, he's going to be put back because he doesn't have QSS yet. Memento can just pull him back into his team. He's going to be one-shot, and whoever is within that Tahm ultimate too can actually be just taken away too. So
well, Sheriff, by the way, doing no damage to Prophet.
That's it. Like, it's going to take a long while. He needs 4 items, and that's basically what I talked about earlier, that I think the Jinx pick in itself, or like basically the lineup of HK, the comp that they play, is taking a bit too long potentially for the amount of plays that are possible for Roccat in the mid game.
Oh, Roccat get another dragon. Got themselves the clouds to go along with the ocean and the mountain. Will be another Ocean Drake before the Elder spawns.
Another blue buff, and that's so important every time you're in Anivia. Take those blue buffs away.
276 CS. Not looked at the items too much. Rapid Fire Cannon was just picked up by Sheriff, so he's got 3 of the 4 that you would like to see.
He actually need more. I'm actually wondering if the Last Whisper right now would actually be sufficient to deal damage to the Roccat lineup, because he has to be so wary of so much zoning potential and so much damage that he can't even overextend to do some damage.
It's really funny because we were talking about how Roccat don't have the greatest peel champions, and that if H2k can find the flank, then Blanc and HeaQ are under pressure.
Yeah.
But of course, if H2k are looking for a flank, there's not a lot of support for Sheriff either.
He's alone. He's alone. Like if the Tahm, even if the Tahm eats him, he can be chased down easily. Obviously because of the Skarner and because of the science. So for him, he has to enable his own 1v9 mode. But I think he's too reliant on his teammates to do well for him to actually be enabled.
Oh man, here comes Memento. I think he threw down that Predator if I read that correctly.
The race car Skarner is coming in.
Trying to zoom. Didn't use the Righteous Glory. Has that available to him, but whenever it comes to setting up Baron 101, push lanes, control mid, deep vision, go Baron. They're on step 1 and 2 right now, pushing both middle and top, pushing into the jungle for vision, so Roccat very, very clear what their objective is at 30 minutes.
Yeah, they basically want to just disable as many wards as possible behind them, because that's the only win condition H2k has right now, where they TP behind them. But Smittyj's TP's on CD. Kassadin is the only one that can flank, and he's actually not able to Zhonya's whatsoever because he doesn't have it yet. So if he gets caught out, especially with Braum CC, with the Skarner CC, he's gonna be dead. No matter if he has QSS somehow.
Okay, it's a 6,000 gold lead. That's going to be a catch onto Sjokz. Pulls him backwards. Not enough damage, though. Smittyj turns it around. The Glacial Storm doing so much work. Devour, buy some time. Nobody's dead. The unstoppable onslaught finally stops as Prophet finds no target. Smittyj that gets shot down where he stands. Chasing too far. It's a 1-for-1. Top for support.
Oh god, it's all...
Blocks out H2k. Now all of a sudden the egg is popped. H2k have done it. The trap port is activated. And Roccat are throwing their lead.
What is Roccat doing? What do they think they can do with the picks that they have? They crystallized their own Skarner pick out of the team fight, and he was just left alone.
Blanc puts up the wall that prevents the follow-up.
That makes
Man.
Why do you have to do that?
Well, we have to see that replay in a moment and really look at it and I mean, maybe we get some slow-mo as well, because this is just such a game-changing play for H2k.
I understand this play on Sjokz, but what is this Crystallized supposed to do? What is he doing that for? He's legit trolling.
That is an accident. That is a misclick. That is
just
unintentional.
Oh, God.
And unfortunately, the follow-up fight is messy. Now, initially, I thought Smittyj going down looked okay.
Norskeren going in here, like flashing in, puts everyone else in such a bad spot because CC is not available anymore. Everyone can follow up. There's no protection whatsoever for the Kog'Maw. And even if his passive is up, there's nothing that is going to help him there.
Man, the tension is building. 35 minutes ago, amazing, I asked you a question about nerves, about mentality, and you had said to me that you felt H2k would have the edge. You felt H2k may have a mindset that would be comfortable, and when you see some of those misplays, we saw some mistakes, some communication errors on the Roccat side. Is that the moment where Roccat give H2k a playoff spot?
I don't want to say it seems that way, but I do think that now H2k's comp actually has the ability to flank properly, because you see the level 18 on Kassadin, so he has 3 points in his ultimate. And they have QSS on 3 of their members. They have another Zhonya's on the top laner. So even if Roccat pinches someone out right now, they're not going to be able to one-shot him anymore.
What I do like, these team fights are big, are chaotic, and go for a long time. So with an even gold game, and that Baron being the equalizer, right? That got H2k out of the deficit.
Yeah.
Now we're in an equal fight. But it doesn't have a clear indication of who's in the lead once Baron wears off. Because obviously with Baron up, H2k have the proactive, or they have momentum on their side.
Yeah, Kog'Maw can still obviously carry, and they do have a lot of engage, and obviously a lot of tools to zone away the enemy and force them into tough spots, especially with the Anivia. But If the Nash is up, there's nothing to do.
Well, let's see what happens now. Memento had already used that Predator, trying to threaten some sort of Righteous Glory engage.
Sheriff does not have flash. He actually has to be careful of the Crystal. If he gets locked in, even with a Tahm eat there, he's not going to be able to get out.
All right, the zoning power of both Swain and Anivia being used to try and clear out the towers down in the bottom lane. Selfie was able to take the inner turret. And finally, this tower will fall in the middle lane, as they've both highlighted 5 towers to 6. They still Roccat with a small lead. And for the first time in about 25 minutes, H2k now have the gold lead, however minimal. But more importantly, look at the top wave, pushing into the inner turret. H2k not actually going to push this one in. Instead, back, spend their money, and set back up. All right, the game has been reset. The last 30 minutes don't matter, because we are late game, we are 3 or 4 items, and it is a bloodthirster for Sheriff. He's going for sustain, not armor pen.
Yeah, he has to be scared of like some kind of, basically, obviously the engage and obviously of the poke of Kog'Maw and Anivia, because technically he could be caught out and actually lose a lot of HP. And I think he sees that there's not that much armor on the lineup of Roccat right now, because Skarner only has 1.5 armor item, so I wouldn't even count it as one armor item total, because Righteous Glory doesn't do as much. And then again, Sion doesn't have that much armor either. So for him, he should be fine.
Ooh, so let's see. How much damage can Sheriff put out in a team fight? Before we get to that fight, quick shout out to our second match of the week. Obviously, these two teams are playing to confirm their playoff spot. G2 and Vitality are in the battle for the bye, along with Splyce. Splyce won their game earlier today, and we'll see the result of that game directly impacts who's in the running for the second seed. It is the 4th game of the day. 2 more from this one. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. Void Staffs as well, picked up for the mid laners. An unstoppable onslaught. Prophet's a very good driver. That threat alone will get a teleport and an abyssal voyage.
So they can actually run down mid lane. Maybe they're looking forward to that right now, because they can control the pace of the game again. Next Drake is coming up soon too.
Dude, that was so much damage on the Smittyj. He chunked 30% of his HP.
Should have gotten AD Sion. That would have been a one-shot.
Is that trigger happy? Like, how much does it hurt to lose your TP and your Abyssal Voyage at this stage of the game?
Kassadin TP does a lot. Obviously, the ultimate of Tahm is on a lower CD than TP, but Selfie is now not going to be able to follow up. So if they attack Smittyj once more, there's not going to be a response for them.
Roger that. So window of opportunity there. Down in the picture-in-picture. You can obviously see UOL Dad watching, hoping, praying Roccat win. Because if H2k do, Unicorns are eliminated. It's one of the few times in a regular season, amazing, where teams will wave the flag of their enemies happily, supporting and cheering so that their own teams and organizations have an increased shot at making it to the postseason.
And it's a beautiful picture too, to actually see someone like heart-wrenching, like sitting there and hoping that that Roccat is going to pull through. It's a nice sight.
And if you're a Roccat fan, the 4th Dragon is also a nice sight. Not really the most exciting ones for late game. 2 oceans, cloud, and mountain. But it means Elder's up in 6. It means Baron's up in 90 seconds. And you have to feel that either of those objectives are going to be game-changing, because the last Baron that Roccat got did not unlock the inhibitor.
Yeah, it's basically, the game has slowed down, because whenever the Nash is not up, you basically just play a standoff and you wait for the next Nash. So I'm going to look forward to a lot of aggression, to a lot of plays again once the Nash is there, because both teams have to control it properly.
All right, this time round, Prophet unable to find the connection on the unstoppable onslaught. Here comes Memento, gets the flash impale. Smittyj uses the hourglass, there's no support. He's the sacrificial demonic ascension bird, and Prophet takes him out. 60-second death timers, Baron's up in 35.
This was so important. They finally seized the opportunity. That was the only play they could make on anywhere on the map. Selfie doesn't have TP. Smittyj does not have the QSS yet, so there was no way he was going to get out.
Oh, man. Okay, Prophet's not here, by the way. He needs to teleport. This will be 4v4 for a while. This crystallized wall from Blanc was good, and it will disengage, but H2k successfully get TP.
Are they going to go for the inhib, or are they going to go for the Nash? They have to respect the timer of that Smittyj respawn, because he has the TP too.
Oh, look at the flank. Sheriff is the one-man army sitting on the side lane as Selfie is trying to get away. Prophet can zoom with that unstoppable, Not going to throw down the ulti yet. And Memento, I'm looking at Righteous Glory and Predator. Look at the items, look at the cooldowns, they're not available yet.
You see the amount of like disruption that Kassadin actually brings into the roster of Roccat right now. They're really just split off and they don't know what they should do right now.
The banner-empowered minion is going to start whittling away the inhibitor, and Smittyj has respawned. Roccat, they find a good pick. They buy some time, but it doesn't control the game yet.
I think they got baited by the Kassadin actually being so active in the backlines, because what they should have done, and they are trying to do now, even with 5 members alive, is basically rush at Nash and control it.
All right, Smittyj is going to need to teleport in. Selfie's going to get caught by the knockup. No! The Riftwalk sends him away. Glacial Prison comes out. This is a fight on 2 fresh. Sjokz is getting away. Now it's a 5v4, but there's low health members on Rockat's side. Smittyj's inside the pit, forced to flash out. Sheriff is putting down damage with those rockets. Selfie goes in, dashes out. Another Unstoppable comes down. Look at the damage on the Roccat line. They're getting wrecked. Sheriff gets excited. He's got 1. That's a 2nd. It's Selfie that gets the 3rd.
Okay.
Now Prophet from beyond the grave cannot do enough, and H2k can look at Baron.
Man, I really thought that Sheriff was going to get a penta right there, because all of the members on Roccat were solo. They were grouped up. They had to group up as the comp dictates, and Sheriff got the damage on every single one of them.
Man, H2k, they dodged away from every single CC, kept at arm's length, and somehow Sheriff was able to get the damage down with those rockets.
The Hurricane actually comes in really, really well right now for Sheriff. If everyone groups up, it does so much, and we see it in the replay right now. Roccat actually do such a good job at one-shotting like the front line right now. They force the Hourglass out of Selfie. They obviously can't ultimate him, but now you see Sheriff actually having to flash out. Sjokz is dead. No, slow the game down. Don't re-engage. You're not going to win this. But what they do right now, they chase him to Smittyj. More auto attacks from Sheriff, and he keeps getting the damage down. Selfie jumps in, and there's just... Now we see the rockets coming in, and that's just incredible damage.
Man, Sheriff uses fish bones. Constantly moving, just move, auto, move, auto. And Roccat, I guess if they're not charging forward, that's exactly what happens.
I face you right now.
Facepalm, and that means H2k significantly in the lead. 10,000 damage to champions. That is more than Blanc and HeaQ combined for that fight. And like you said, the Hurricane, the range, the rockets, H2k, they're on the verge of qualifying for playoffs.
Now it's really easy for H2k to understand what the enemy comp is going to do, because there's no surprise factor on the lineup of Roccat. They can't flank, they can't re-engage from the sides. They have to be a death ball, and they have to be in front of them. So H2k know what's coming.
Let's see what Roccat can do. Can they execute well enough that even with H2k's awareness, they can pull off a team fight? All of the ultimates are available, but they don't want to fight into Baron. That's the inhibitor now broken open, finally at 40 minutes, finally with a 5,000 gold lead. And we've not looked at the items in a while. Sheriff has got himself that last whisper, got himself the ability to shred through armor and HP thanks to Lord Dominic's regards, the upgrade. And
we see the amount of MR that Kog'Maw is actually having to buy, because he has to respect the Kassadin damage, because he can always jump in. There's not enough protection for him to actually initially stop the burst from Kassadin. So, and even a Mercurius similar to on the Kassadin.
All right, this time around, Smittyj's caught up behind the wall. All of a sudden, H2k are caught napping. The engage power of that straight line ends up hurting. It was unstoppable into the glacial.
And there's an Elder coming out. Smittyj getting caught out again at the same time as last Nash was supposed to spawn. So for Roccat right now, they actually have to seize the opportunity properly right now.
Listen, amazing. I've seen this before. Smittyj often has a shitty day. He just feeds to win. It's just something he does. The more he dies, the more frequently H2k win the game. And what is this? Just caught out by Memento, I guess. Oh, that was fantastic.
He really trusted the Tahm, but Tahm cannot eat you through a wall. There's no way for him to get to you. But now Roccat, they can actually start the Elder, and they have 4 Drakes, so it's going to be a really strong one.
Oh, will they be able to secure it? We've seen Smite stolen so many times this split. All right, the Scuttle Crab picked up by Roccat.
They have to start it. They have to
No
start it.
teleport on Smittyj. He spawns in 5 seconds. Sheriff and Selfie waiting in the wings. That crystallize maybe was a little early. Blanc will not be able to prevent them getting in range. Sjokz throws down the ultimate. The Flame Chompers gonna root Prophet in place. Elder Dragon's the focus. Secured by Roccat. Now they turn the damage around. Sjokz is melted and obliterated. HeaQ gets another. H2k are being destroyed. Smittyj has respawned and joined the fight, but he's lost 2 members of the team, and Roccat are now back in control.
Give the chance. Let's go, Roccat. They actually do what they're supposed to do. They go for the 50-50. There's no way that they're gonna let anyone in, and they actually play it perfectly.
Oh man, Roccat, they get Elder. A 4-dragon Elder Drake.
Yeah,
gotta defend the supers, gotta clear out the bottom wave. And it's gonna be a few minutes before Baron is up, but the thing is, they still have to come back. This was the comeback for Roccat because H2k were in the lead.
What I really like about this team fight is how Norskeren positions. He keeps the shield for so long, blocks the Sejuani ultimate. He knows that this was the only engagement that they have, and now basically follow-up comes. Prophet in the front line. He knows he can't die, basically gets the Q down, and there's so much zoning potential, and it's just really well played by them.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is 2 teams in the bottom half of the EU LCS standings, fighting for a spot in playoffs with only 3 games left. This is the single best split EU LCS has ever had. And for these 2 teams, how the hell do you figure out who's going to win? Because there's been good setups, there's been throws, there's been counterplay. And it feels like it's balancing on a knife edge.
Prophet has to group with the team, but yeah, as long as Roccat is playing to the win condition, with this being a death ball comp, I think they're gonna be fine, but they have been iffy on the execution.
Of course, execution will be made a little easier. Sheriff sold his Bloodthirster to pick up the Mercurial Scimitar.
Yeah. So he's gonna be safe from the Skarner ultimate.
Selfie has been level 18 for about 15 minutes, it feels like. He's also upgraded his QSS into Mercurial Scimitar, which means he can actually deal with those Baron minions a little bit.
He can smack them too.
A little bit.
But at this point, basically, what you want to do, like, basically, Prophet is grouping up right now. You want to set up for this mid-turn, but they actually enable themselves to have a win condition later on too.
Here comes Memento! Here comes Prophet! Where's the Impale? A target needs to get locked down. Selfie's trying to flank, but it won't matter. The Death Ball is in retreat. Memento's being tagged. Slow down for the Force Pulse. Ultimate from Sjokz finds no target. The first kill is Sheriff. He's going to get excited. But remember, the inhibitor was secured. H2k need more if they want to swing this game in their favor. The minions top and bottom are in favor of Roccat. Here's the flank. There comes the vision of the Empire, and there's a route onto Prophet, but it won't matter. Roccat, they've done it. They trade 1 death for the inhibitor.
Worthy sacrifice because Memento will be on time for the Nash, and they're gonna have a mid lane pushing now with the inhib being down. It was a really good play, and I think the sacrifice was definitely worth it.
Holy moly. Inhibitor goes down, so a couple minutes of map control. So it's going to be a replay of how Roccat, they just committed. I mean, they just went in as 5 with the ultimates and Predator.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do at this point. Obviously, they saw what happens if they let Sheriff poke too much, and they're going to all lose their lives. But in this case, only meant to being in the front line, trying to maybe even grab the Smittyj is the one that's going to be the sacrificial lamb. So good play, good execution, actually did what they're supposed to do.
And I think the timing is so important, Amazing. You mentioned Memento's respawned, 20 seconds for Baron. You can see the total damage dealt to champions this game. Just ridiculous from Sheriff.
We probably have to keep an eye on the next Elder too, because obviously taking an Elder early means that you have the next win condition later on, because you're going to have more bonuses in the next one.
Well, Prophet doesn't want to wait that long. He's already used his ultimate to engage. Memento looking for the Impale. Won't find it.
TP.
Throws out the Fracture. Okay, so Smittyj's TP's on cooldown. Selfie still has his. So does Prophet.
But they're retreating a lot right now, so HK actually has access to the Nash, and maybe they will start it soon.
Oh man, it's going to go down so quick with the amount of damage at this stage. Baron Nashor. H2k have positioning for now.
Started it even.
Unstoppable is not available for Prophet. It is on cooldown for another 7 seconds. Here comes Selfie in from the side. Gets tagged by Winter's Bite. It's H2k on the front foot. Smittyj caught by the Impale. He's down. HeaQ takes him out. Now all of a sudden Selfie's golden. The Hourglass will buy some time. Decimating Smash will find nobody.
No, Kio's not Sheriff anymore, so he's actually going to be a target for the enemy team right now.
Rockats don't care. Are they really going to go for the base?
I think they're just going to go for Nash right now. I think they have easy access to it, and they can actually wait for the next Skarner ultimate and lock down Sheriff.
Man, these fights, they build up, but the moment somebody dies, it's instant retreat.
Smittyj has been in the front line too much right now. Like, he's basically overextending, assuming that he's going to be eaten, but it's not going to happen if you have to protect the rest of your members. He has to respect that for now.
Okay, Smittyj, 158 seems to be the problem for now. 25 seconds, by the way, until he respawns. And remember, his teleport was forced a little while ago. So Roccat, they've got a lot of time to play with.
They're really waiting for that Skarner ultimate right now. I think once that Skarner ultimate is back up, he can flash into Sheriff. He does not have the QSS anymore and basically enable his team.
They've started Baron. It's being shredded down very, very quickly.
Look out for the...
Starting to back away. Prophet's ultimate interrupted by Blanc's
Where's the
wall.
confidence?
By the way, I think he face planted into Blanc's wall, if I read that correctly. So Blanc's crystallizes, not great all the time.
The Jinx QSS is gonna be up right now, so they actually missed their window of opportunity to actually engage on her and get her into the team. Swain can follow up now. There's a bottom wave coming in. There's a lot of things going right for H2k right now because they can actually push out the mid wave right now.
This is terrifying. And
man.
patch 8.5. Was it 8.4 where we introduced the Elder Dragon changes? Where if you get a second one after securing the first, it is like a bajillion times more effective.
It may actually be that H2k, Roccat is gonna just like leave this Elder, but with this dash, but they may actually engage on it. No, they have to back out.
Oh, defensive ultimate from Prophet. The point of that Elder, it's coming up in 2 minutes, and no team in EU LCS has been able to secure two of them.
They can't
Baron is
enter.
going low, there's not enough support. Glacial Fish has already been used. Prophet sitting on the front line, nobody's gone down yet. Finally, Baron will be secured. It's Sheriff that gets the final hit, but it might be at the cost of Smittyj's life. He's locked down, he gets one on the side. Sheriff gets excited, picks up a second, and Prophet from beyond the grave is trying to slow H2k down. H2k get Baron, Prophet, and Norskeren and get out alive.
Luckily for Roccat, there are no minion waves stacked against them right now. They can actually kill the bot wave. But they entered the comp of H2k once more. They played against their own comp. They entered a space that they cannot control and didn't control. So for them to run in, force the Landshot comp to basically be in a narrow space is so bad, and we saw what happens because of it.
Oh, take a look at the replay here, of course. Baron started, Sheriff and Sjokz doing what they can to shut it down, and just not enough response from Roccat.
Yeah, they can easily put the Flame Choppers down too right here. There's no way that Rockat's going to enter the space because all of the champs are relying on this being together and basically having that protection coming in. We see Prophet overextending. We see him actually trying to get to that Nashor, but there's no way for his team to follow up there. Norskeren gets CC'd up. Even with Smittyj being crystallized, he's not able to actually be reached. So there's no counterplay for Roccat.
No, there's not, and Roccat will lose their inhibitor because of it. Take a look, HeaQ, 270 damage. He couldn't get into the fight. And with Baron buff, with map control, a small gold lead, H2k now can set up for Elder. It's up in 10 seconds. They do not, no, they cannot afford that to go over to Roccat.
Yeah, if that goes over to Roccat, I think it's GG, but they have the Venom minion in the bot lane right now. They trust their Nashor to actually carry them to the game, because I do think that they can actually dive this turret.
Well, take a look at the itemization. Essence Reaver picked up for HeaQ to complement the Rage Blade, Blade of the Ruined King, as well as that Wit's End. We've got ourselves set up for a potential fight.
Hit the Banner minion.
Yeah, can't stop it yet. The Banner minion alone takes down the inhibitor turret. That crystallized wall wasn't able to zone it out. Vision of the Empire forcing Blanc to dodge away, and despite Selfie almost getting stunned up, Smittyj this time round gets devoured. Prophet's on the front end. Sheriff tries to back away. He's used the Mercurial Scimitar. The Super Mega Death Rocket will not find a kill, and nobody goes down yet, but the inhibitor is exposed. That's the second of the game. That is absolute map control in favor of Roccat. H2k, they're not done yet. They're trying to ride this Banner minion as long as they can. Norskeren gets a tag onto Selfie, and now Selfie's zoned away. The Nexus turret is down. H2k, can they finish? H2k, can they win? H2k, can they go to playoffs? That's a kill for Smittyj. It's a 5v4. Memento's Impale's not available. Banner empowered. Super minions are on the Nexus turret, and now the Nexus will be the focus. Where is Sheriff? Keep your eyes on his hit points. Keep your eyes on his mana pool. He needs fish bones for that range and that safety. Selfie gonna look for Norskeren. Not gonna be enough yet. The Nexus is being focused down as a Devour will save Sjokz's life. The battery-empowered Seed is still doing work. The Nexus goes down. H2k are going to playoffs. HeaQ HeaQ said it yesterday. We legitimately have a chance. 2-0 in week 9. Sjokz and Roccat fall. So do Unicorns of Love, so do Misfits. H2k make it to the postseason.
Just incredible what happened here. The game was really, really already in Rocket's hands, and HeaQ grabbed it from them. They acknowledged what their comp has to do. They played to the win conditions, which is the late game, and they played it perfectly.
The trap card, amazing. You said it.
Why did I lose to Deficio again?
You said it. You predicted the win. Memento is heartbroken. After that early game, after the 7,000 gold lead, after a beautiful Baron call, they lose in the middle lane game.
I actually like that, the fact that one mistake can still lose you the game. You have to play perfectly, like not necessarily perfectly, but you have to play to your win conditions throughout the game. And once that Crystallize went down behind Memento and they tried to over-engage into a space they could not control or could not enter, they threw the game and threw the lead.
That man on your screen, Sjokz. The Sjokz effect.
Is it real?
It is real because H2k advanced to the postseason. Since joining the team, they've picked up surprise wins. Hell, they've surprised us with their own play style. But they find a way. They're resilient. They dig deep.
The question is now, obviously, how far can they go? Because this round has picked up 7. I think they're 7-3 ever since Sjokz has joined. So that's a top-tier record. They're amongst the likes of Vitality, of Splice.
They've picked up more wins since Sjokz joined in the middle of the season than every team below them in 9 weeks of the season.
Oh,
so,
man. Yeah, true.
You know, when you put it in that light, it is amazing. And now, of course, for Roccat, they are going to be relying on their head-to-head records and potentially tiebreakers. I believe they're still at 6th spot open. We will get an update from Medic a little later, but for Roccat, it is not over, but it is disappointing after that huge lead that they built up.
Yeah, actually, I suffer with them. You know, from a jungler perspective, you're basically forced to engage at that point. You have to crystallize behind you. And
it's tough. It's so tough. And of course, H2k, welcome to the postseason. It was a deserved victory in the end, in the late game. For more on exactly how they did that, we're going to hear from H2k's AD carry.
Thank you very much, Quickshot. Indeed, I'm here with Sheriff. Congratulations about your game today.
Thank you.
Well, it's your first split in the LCS. What does it mean to you to get to playoff on your first attempt?
Yeah, it means a lot to me because it's my rookie split, so yeah, it's really a huge thing for me and I hope we can go far.
And you're on a good run to be the rookie of the split from what I've heard. Does it mean something special to you?
Yeah, I think this award, especially this year when there's so many good rookies, means a lot and I hope I am a good contender for it.
Let's talk a bit more about the game. It was really back and forth between you two. Was it challenging to know that if you lost this one, you were out?
Yeah, it was really challenging because I don't want to be out. I want to play playoffs, so yeah, it was hard.
And you will be in playoff. Is there any team you're looking forward to face in this competition?
I really want to face Vitality because they have 2 rookies, or actually 3 rookies, so I want to face them and beat them.
Well, we'll see about that later, and they will play later on today. Congratulations again on your victory. And now for more about the playoffs, let's send it over to Medic with the playoffs checkup.
Thank you very much, Laure. I am Medic, and here is my playoff checkup for us once again. So much action's happened today, and every game counts, which means we always have to look at exactly how our standings sit after each individual matchup. Now, we talked about it a lot already. H2k have locked their spot in playoffs with that win. They are also locked in position in that 5th spot, as you can see by the red number 5 next to them. Fnatic still locked in 1st. Splice, G2, and Vitality are still in the battle for the bye. And the G2 versus Vitality matchup later on will have a lot to determine what the result is there. Down towards the bottom of the table, things don't quite look as good. Let's have a look at exactly who has suffered because of the previous 2 matches that we have had. You go down towards Misfits, Giants, and Unicorns. Sadly, they are locked out of contention for playoffs. Although they might be able to tie the win-loss of teams above them, they would lose out on the head-to-head, which means there's no way they can make it into that 6th spot. Commiserations, of course, to those 3 teams. So what still is there for us to look forward to today? Well, we already talked about the battle of the bye. G2 and Vitality play up in Game 5. Unicorns and Misfits playing for a little bit of pride after this game. Of course, neither of them can make it to playoffs, but Fnatic and Sjokz is a great game at the end of the day as well. Sjokz really need to take a win there if they're going to keep their contentions up for that final spot. Up next is Unicorns of Love versus Misfits. Make sure you tune in right after this.
Well, there's the teleports already coming down. The Glacial Prison is going to lock down Memento. Doesn't even get a chance to use the Impale. Does do so. Pulls him backwards. Nobody's down just yet. Smittyj trying to chase forward in that demonic form. It was Roccat that set the tone. Demonic Ascension will save Smittyj for a little while until Blanc kills Promisq. Now Smittyj's the target. He gets crushed. Another Unstoppable comes down. Look at the damage on the Roccat line. They're getting wrecked. Sheriff gets excited. He's got one. That's a second. It's Selfie that gets the third.
I mean,
And even Mercurius seemed like on the cusp.
All right, this time around, Smittyj's caught up behind the wall. All of a sudden, H2k, I've got a root prophet in place. Elder Dragon's the focus. Secured by Roccat. Now they turn the damage around. Sjokz is melted and obliterated. HeaQ gets another. It might be at the cost of Smittyj's life. He's locked down. He gets one on the side. Sheriff gets excited, picks up a second, and Prophet from beyond the grave. The Nexus is being focused down as a Devour will save Sjokz's life. The battering-powered Siege is still doing work.